Daniel Patrick Moynihan Courthouse. This is the location of the infamous, and I do mean infamous, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy Sean Combs, racketeering and sex trafficking federal trial right here at the Patrick Moynihan Courthouse. So, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say that, you know, there are very few security professionals in the world who have tapped into this actual incident. When the case first broke, we were sitting in an executive protection class that I was teaching. I had a class full of 20 students, 20 plus students, and we went live to talk about it because simply one of the issues was the security. And when I mentioned that as the security, you're either going to be a witness or you're actually going to be a defendant. And when the federal government comes knocking on your door, you better answer and have some warm cookies and milk, because they can make a very hard day and a very hard life for you. So when people thought that Diddy would just get away with this, it's really on the fence, but it looks to me, and I'm a former police captain in Washington, D.C., so I may be a bit biased, but the evidence looks to me as that he's going to be convicted. Now, this is what, when we were sitting in that executive protection class last year in D.C. and we talked about this case, we went live right in the classroom. We were live. People were saying, oh, you are wrong for talking about that. When you work security, you're not supposed to say anything. You're under a non-disclosure agreement. You're wrong. And so what happens is when people begin to work with high-profile people, especially people with influence and power, they begin to become a little corrupt themselves, because over time, especially if you had a long time or tenure working with a specific client, it is easy to become friends with the people, right? So sometimes it's beyond friends. It's almost like family. You know their kids. You're at their house almost every day, if not every day, picking them up. You're flying in private jets with them. You're on every tour, every concert. You hear his arguments. You hear his business deals. All of these things that would make you feel some sort of attachment to a person. Now, but as an executive protection, right? We're executive protection professionals. And I just had to be honest, right? Other than Gene Deal, Roger Bonds, and a few other people came out, there's nobody who's actually talking about this case. And people in the security field, when it first broke, their first instinct was to protect their client. And as should be. The first instinct is to protect your client. But if you are privy to criminal activity and information about that activity, and again, if the feds come knocking on your door, you better have warm cookies and cold milk, because they can make a long, impossible life for you. So I'm gonna say this, right? When you see criminal activity, you are obligated to tell law enforcement what you know. Now, I'm not saying run right out and as soon as you see it, go snitch. You see some people passing some marijuana joints, some illicit drugs, narcotics, whatever that may be. I'm not saying as soon as you see that you run and go snitch, because that's kind of like a little, I think that's like a little bit of jumping the gun. But after you start to see patterns, and for some people like myself, that's only going to take one time. If I see somebody pass cocaine one time, I don't know what the pills are. I'm not looking at the description on them. If I hear them talking about it, I know what it is. But if you're in a social setting, you know how people get down, you can kind of assume that they're doing something that's not above board, right? So, but once you see that people are doing criminal activity, it's your option to exit stage left. A lot of people will not leave in the opposite, exit stage left because of the power and influence that their principal has. Now, in this case, a person like P. Diddy, a lot of the guys that they hired before they got into executive protection, they weren't law enforcement guys, they weren't military guys, they were pretty much guys from the street. Some of these guys had never been out of New York City or out of their borough or out of their community where they lived at. And now all of a sudden, just like the young ladies, they're on private jets. They're in 30 different countries a year. You know, they're getting paid, they're getting money, and they are not willing to give all of that up. And so instead, they just look the other way and keep their mouths closed. But in this profession, you have an option. Just like they say that the women had an option, people say they blame the women. I'm not one of those people. I believe that you can be influenced by somebody. But just like the women, they say women had the option to walk away, so did the security guards, so did the executive, the assistants, all the people that worked in under him and saw what was going on. But right here, they're getting it right here in this courthouse. And again, because I'm prior law enforcement, I could be a little bit biased, but I feel like the government is winning the case. And we're at the last day. So today, Brennan Paul, the young man that they arrested down in Miami as he was boarding the plane, he was scheduled to take the stand today. He was also scheduled to take the stand yesterday. And they have given Brennan Paul immunity, expecting him to give damning testimony that will put Sean Combs in jail until his hair is grayer than it already is. And we're looking forward to hearing that case. But more importantly, I think this serves as a message to those guys who are working in the executive protection field or the security field protecting entertainers. You have to draw a line in the sand and stand your ground. What kind of person are you going to be? And if you're motivated by money, you'll never go anywhere and you'll never say anything. And I'm very worried about this case. I'm very worried about what's going to happen to the security, P. Diddy Security, who were protecting him. Because if you think that law enforcement did not go to these people and start asking them a question, you are a new fool. This is, again, I can see if this was the local NYPD, some kind of state investigative bureau, something like this. But ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the feds, the federal courthouse, who has something like a 94 to 97% conviction rate. And from my understanding, the trial has been postponed today due to a sick juror. I believe he has vertigo. Again, that gives you some kind of queasiness. You can't stand up. You feel like you're going to fall over. You can't find your balance. You may have some vomiting and nausea because of that. But the juror, earlier this morning, Judge Romanian rested the case until, I believe, Friday. And when they come back Friday, we should be hearing from Brennan Paul. Now, I hope to be here, but I can't be here on Fridays, but I will be here through Monday, and I'll be right back here because right now the courthouse is evidently busy, not as busy as usual. You'll see Diddy fans out there. One guy, when I first showed up, he had a free puff shirt on, and I think his name is something Diddy something one or whatever. I'll post it. He asked me to follow him on Instagram, and I'm on YouTube, so I'm gonna go over there. Hopefully he's still there when I get back. So I'm gonna make sure we connect because this is the YouTuber world, YouTuber society. We kind of sync together. Your connection with one YouTuber can explode your channel. Right now, I have almost 120,000, I believe 120,000 subscribers on YouTube, who I am super thankful for. Thank you for following me, getting down with me, liking my content, sharing my content. It's really making a difference, not only for me, but for the people who work in the security world and who want to know about the security world. So, but these are things that you need to know about, right? So we don't want to be like Chatty Patty, as Dame Dash say, or we don't want to be on the internet or social platforms gossiping about this or gossiping about that. But we can have security professionals who speak from a professional platform. I've been in the executive protection business for over 30 years. I do a lot of work right here in New York City. In fact, I'm here almost weekly with the high-profile executive. Now, my profession, I started out doing close protection for celebrities and entertainers, and I realized sometimes you deal with stuff like this, and my integrity meter, my morality meter is, once it starts ticking, I can't go back. So the things that I see, I can't condone. So I moved into an era where the people treat you nicer, you get paid more money, and there's not hard work. There's not a hard work. So in the executive protection business, you expect people to be walking around, walking in front of somebody, pushing people through a crowd like that. But when you get to the level when you're working with political people and you're working with corporate executives, you're working with high power foreign dignitaries and diplomats. The job isn't so much like that. Actually, it's like a whole lot of hurry up and wait, okay? Here's some keys that make you successful at that. Be on time always. So if I tell you to be somewhere at 6 o'clock doesn't mean be there at 6 o'clock. In my eyes, it means to be there at 5 o'clock, but to do yourself a good service, try to be there at least 5:15. Anything could happen in a 30-minute window, so get there an hour early and don't expect to get paid, okay? Because if you're trying to grab every penny and pinch every nickel from your person that's employing you and say, I came, you said 6, but I was here at 5, what's gonna happen is that'll be one of the last times that you get work. But just show up, because that shows professionalism. Show up on time, be there, right? They say, wow, man, this guy was here an hour early, right? He didn't ask for no pay, he didn't even ask for no break. He took care of all the things, he was well put together, well spoken, did the things that I needed them to do. So being on time is of the utmost importance. I gotta give a special shout out to Mark Raya. Mark Raya came through my executive protection class, I think 2021 or 2022. We have been stuck together since then. Mark lives in Louisiana, so shout out to Mark for all you do who's down there in Louisiana, the French Quarter, New Orleans area. Mark and I do a lot of work. He lives there. When I come to New Orleans, he's one of the only people that I call and one of the only people that I rely on. But now back to this Diddy thing. So when the feds come knocking on your door, man, you gotta have answers. You have no obligation to comply with the non-disclosure agreement that condones criminal activity. You cannot be quiet when you see criminal activity. But again, once you start working with people and you build, it goes beyond, a lot of times it goes beyond work, it goes into relationship. And when it's about relationship, that is where, ladies and gentlemen, that is where things go south. And executive protection, I see people walking and holding bags. We were right here, and I'm gonna take you back out there for where we started from, right? Right here, about a week or 2 weeks ago, Cassie's husband, Cassie was on time on a stand testifying. He heard things that he never thought he would hear about his wife. He was disgusted by P. Diddy and all the people that support him. He stormed out of that door right there. And headed that way. And when he headed that way, he went through a sea of people, media people. People were chasing them down with iPods, tripods. They were whatever you call these things that you put these phones on. They were chasing them down. They went to the wrong door and opened the wrong door of the wrong vehicle. And then when they realized that wasn't the vehicle, they went running down the street. All right, so we're talking about what separates the professionals between the pretenders. And one of the things is being prepared. Okay, so a lot of people who are called, when I was talking about Diddy's people, when they're called into these jobs, they don't have the extensive training. They may have some security background, they may have some law enforcement background. But I tell people all the time, when you're working in close protection, executive protection, if you see a lot of my videos, I say bodyguards, so I try to dumb it down for people who don't know what executive protection is. If I'm sitting on a plane and I'm riding with somebody, they ask, well, sitting flying beside somebody, they say, well, what do you do for a living? I say, well, I do executive protection. They look at me like a dog with two heads. But if I say I'm a bodyguard, they get it right away. So I don't want you guys to think that I don't know what I talk about when I say bodyguard. I know exactly what I talk about. I've been doing this for over 30 years and I do it at the highest level. But we were talking about Alex Fine, Cassie's husband, leaving this place, headed out to that street, and the car's not being there. The going to the wrong car, pushing through a crowd of people, but not even paying attention to the people. And last but not least, carrying a bag. If a client asks me or principal asks me to carry a bag, I say no. Right? That's not my job, because once you start doing things, they'll start asking you to do more things. I had one guy, he was working with a high profile person, they asked him to dump the trash. He said, okay, cool, I'm not doing nothing, I'll go dump the trash. Next thing they say, go pick up the kids from the daycare. Now that could be a protective role or something that you do. I have no problem with that. But then, it started being, hey, take my mom here, do this, doing this. And then what the guy eventually said is like, listen, hey, you hired me for you to do protective services. Now I'm dumping trash. I'm taking trash cans out on Wednesday to the front of the street so that the trash company can get it. And this has nothing to do with close protection. And once they start sinking their claws in you, it just continues to go. And then you're no longer just an executive protection person who came there for the sole purpose of protecting their reputation, and protecting, their finances, protecting them from liability, from being sued, but more importantly, protecting them from being killed or injured. So once you get into that mode, there is no turning back. So I always say, stay professional. And a lot of times when you're watching celebrities, if you see Rihanna, you see A$AP Rocky, you see different celebrities, always notice very few of them have the same bodyguard all the time. And that is a good thing, because once you get into and you start being around with somebody for a while, again, you start losing your integrity. Sometimes you start putting your guard down, and maybe where you walk up to the line and you kind of toe the line, now people are just going completely across the line. And that's what we want to prevent. So I'm going to ask you guys, so you all who are watching, please tell me your thoughts. Christina Corum was what we thought was going to testify right here in the Daniel Patrick Moynihan courthouse. We thought that Christina was going to be out here. We thought that she was going to give evidence against Diddy, and apparently that's not so, because Friday, well, they said today or possibly Friday could be the last day for the trial, but again, Brennan Paul cannot testify, and he's the alleged drug mule for Diddy. And having him as one of the final nails in the coffin, well, what the final witnesses really says is you saved the best for last, as they say, right? Cassie was good. She set the tone for the trial to try to really drive home the point that she was manipulated, and then everybody else in between just kind of told the story. He bought drugs. He bought this money. They messed up the hotel room. They paid this escort. They paid this person for drugs. So they're filling in the gaps to secure a conviction. But the icing on the cake, which we all thought was going to be Christina Corum, because she's the closest to him, she has the most evidence, and they have the most evidence on her as well. So we were expecting her to get on here and to give testimony about what she saw, what she heard, and what she did. But from my understanding, she may be putting up her own defense. From all accounts, she has ghosted Diddy. They're not talking. She may decide to, hey, listen, I love him enough, or I like him enough as a person not to turn state's evidence on him. Again, that they say snitches get stitches and then dumped in ditches. She just may have that a loyalty to him. And for her to know so much and to do so much for him over this long period of time just signifies that, yeah, maybe they're right. Maybe she did have a whole lot of information that she wasn't willing to give, and an affinitive loyalty to him for whatever he's done for her and for her life. And the same goes with the security. So if you heard the names mentioned, D-Rock, and you also heard Uncle Paulie, these are some of Diddy's main bodyguards, right? They're saying in some of these cases, these guys, we were thinking it was going to be Brendan Paul, Christina Corum, and then it was going to be D-Rock, and it's going to also be Uncle Paulie, and those guys are coming in. But by them not showing up here at this trial, what does that tell you? What does that tell you about them? These guys have lived up to their non-disclosure agreement. They have lived up to, the street code. They have lived up to their loyalty to Diddy. Or the government just says, hey, listen, we don't need you. And if the government, that is the government's position, understand that these guys and girls, Christina, D-Rock, Uncle Paulie, and whoever else was included, don't get to walk away scot-free. You got to understand that they're not going away scot-free. The government's case sounds rock solid to me. If I'm wrong, please drop it down there in the comments. Hit the super chat. Let me know what you think. If I'm wrong, please say so. But they don't get to walk away from this. And if they get a conviction, and again, the federal government's conviction rate is 94%. And P. Diddy is probably going to end up doing about 94 years when it's all said and done. Or he'll be 94 years old when he finally gets out of jail. But if these guys, if they convict him, the federal government, I don't say win, and again, I'm biased, almost 20 years in law enforcement in a major city, and then another 20 years, 20 plus years doing executive security. I am actually biased. I am actually biased about the trial. I'm sorry. I listen to the facts. I listen to the facts. I hear both sides. But it sounds like the magazine is loaded and the feds are really ready to lay some bodies down. So with that kind of conviction rate, they're going to come back, and honestly, if you don't see Christina Corum and D-Rock and Uncle Paulie on this stand, it's possible that they may receive just as many years in prison time, if convicted, as Diddy will see. And that's called an accomplice to the case. And the Lord, if they have compromised anything, they also could be charged with obstruction of justice. So this is very interesting case. This is going to change the dynamics of the executive security business. Also, just think about this, right? They hit Kanye. They hit Kanye with the lawsuit. I've heard talk about allegedly Chris Brown has done some things that are coming into question. And the biggest one, billionaire Tyler Perry. What do you think about that? Tyler Perry, sexually, you gotta say, you can't say that, all right, we don't want to get censored, sexually harassing Derek, one of his former employees, somebody that he put a role into. And then if you've seen the text message, they look very graphic and telling, but they also look doctored as somebody really, took out what they said, and then the top of the screen, I can't remember where I saw it. It says to Tyler Perry, and then when I look at my text messages when I'm texting somebody, it never says to, and all that. So it looked like that was some kind of Photoshop stuff, trying to really implicate Tyler Perry. Man, this stuff is blowing up. I don't know if Tyler Perry did it. I don't know if he didn't do it, but more power to Tyler Perry. And again, if he had security and they were aware and they didn't say anything, you can, as same was with Kanye, you can also expect to see them in trial on their own. So, and I guess, but the question is will Tyler, will the security and Christina Corum will they be charged or indicted as individuals, or will they be, in a group trial? That's going to be interesting. So I don't know, guys. What are your thoughts? Leave it down in the super chat. Leave it in the comment. However you do that. This is kind of new to me. So what I am going to do is here. What do you think? I'm gonna put it right here. What do you think? Do you think that the security, that Diddy Security will be charged in this case? Yeah, so that's yes. That's all right. If you get there, just answer that for me. That's it, yes or no. Do you think, I could have put unsure on there, but do you think they'll be charged? If you see that poll, do you think Diddy Security will be, can be, or should be charged in the case? Now, this is the state of affairs, right? This is the state of affairs. Where does your integrity lie? What would you do for money? They said, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. I'm not religious or none of that, but I'm just saying what the book says. What do you think? The OJs, one of my favorite groups from old school groups, says, for the love of money, people will steal from their mother. For the love of money, people will rob their own brother. So what would you do for the love of money? Some people just get, what's up, Bungie? I got my man Bungie from the West Coast. He was just here. We just did the, I love Bungie. We just did the, what we do, Bungie? We did the executive chauffeur course as a security driving class down in Spartanburg, South Carolina. And you guys don't know this, we have me, MVP, my company, has an exclusive partnership with the BMW School of Performance. It's a driving school. My students drove the M3s, the M4s, the M5s. We tore up the tracks for 2 days in South Carolina. We really developed some high-level executive protection drivers and security agents. These people are going to shake up the world. Now, but getting back to this, that's my question to you guys. That is my question to you. When they ring your door, when the feds show up at your door and ask you, okay, what do you know? My question is what do you say? Is it, let me call my lawyer? Well, I think no matter what it is, if you don't know anything or you do know something, you should be saying, let me call my lawyer, because you can be implicated in anything that you see. And again, if the feds come after these people, there are going to be a lot of convictions, and a lot of people are going to do a lot of time. Now, let's talk about something else. So, you guys in the executive protection business, I'm glad the shade is coming out here. Because I was hot. You guys in the executive protection business, the face of executive protection, a bodyguard work for you all who don't know what this is. The face of executive protection and the bodyguard field is about to change all together. Technology is getting different. It's getting more improved. More situations are coming to play. The economy being number one, and the political environment being number two. Now, I've been saying this for a long time. If you've been watching any international news, Ecuador, Mexico, Argentina, India, a lot of places have had political assassinations on the people who run the countries. The most recent was right here in the United States of America. I bet you guys, some of you all didn't know that, and a lot of you do. But I don't watch news, but the things that I need to know about, I definitely know about. So what happened was the political, they call them lawmakers, in Minnesota. We had this guy who actually dressed up in a Jason type mask, some kind of Halloween costume, and he had a hit list of 46 people, 46 politicians that he was going to execute. And actually, he put his plan to work. He went to the house of one person, knocked on the door, dressed as a police officer. He has on full tack gear, attack vest. He has on all this stuff, flashlight, long gun, pistols. He knocks on the door, and he identifies himself as the police. They open the door, seeing him, and right as they recognize that he was who he was, he began shooting. This happened to two couples, and one of the couples had a daughter. The wife was able to shield the daughter, saved her, but the wife and her husband both died from the gunshots. And the other couple, here's the deal. That couple actually lived. Their daughter was able to, I believe, call law enforcement. They got life-saving care to them in time, stop the bleed or whatever, critical trauma care. The other couple, they didn't have the chance. So they actually, when police he went to the second couple, the police got wind of it. They got there, they got engaged into a shootout with the man right out front of the house. Now, from my understanding, this man was an evangelist. They have footage of him, or B-roll, or whatever you want to call it, running across the screen, shouting in the name of the Lord, speaking in tongues, and all kind of other stuff. And then he went out and did this. And also, from my understanding, that he was the director of a security for a security firm. Right, which makes this all the more wild. And I'm still following this case, and this is something that I'm following. I'm going to come back on. But if he had a manifesto on why he was doing this thing, but for sure we know that he had a hit list. Now, why does that change things for the executive protection industry? So the reason that changes things for the executive protection industry, because the environment is that people are afraid. From my understanding, that Congress and Capitol Hill has decided to increase the protection for the lawmakers from Capitol Hill. And I don't know, usually how that works is, if they want security, they have to take care of it out of their own budget. The United States government has historically not provided security directly to congressmen and representatives. I believe that senators and governors are entitled to security, and in a lot of cases, the senators and governors, either the state police provide the security, or the local police department, they have a unit that would protect the government officials. Here in New York, people like Mayor Eric Adams and the state's attorney, those guys are protected by NYPD's Executive Protection Unit, and they handle that stuff, right? But congressmen, they get none. But now lawmakers on Capitol Hill, the people, the decision makers are saying, hey, we have to do something. So what does that mean? Well, could this have been prevented in Minnesota? Could their lives have been saved? Yes, it could have, but when you think about what is the cost of an executive protection detail, and we're talking about 24 hours, so if we even call it 12 hours. So in order to prevent something like that, you would need 24-hour security because you would need a residential security agent, right? Somebody around the house all times, and preferably more than one. There could be a guard shack, somebody there who's doing check-in at the gates, making sure that the people are licensed, that the packages that come in aren't explosive, that they're going to the right address, there's no threatening mail or things like that would hold back. I'm sorry guys, the screen froze up a little bit. Hopefully we're back. It looks like we're not moving. Okay, here we go. So yeah, so you want to, some people have an intake right at their driveway. You come in, there's a gated place, there's a guard shack there. You have to stop in and show your ID that all the mail, Amazon packages, all the U.S. postal mail, USPS, everybody comes here. If they have a guest, visitors or whatever, they're in charge of that. But the more expansive part of that is building all of that out. Security professionals like myself and others can go to a house, do risk assessments or a security survey, as we say it. We're checking out lighting, we're checking out landscaping, we're checking out perimeter stuff. Do they have hedges? Do they have dogs? Do they have fencing? Do they have is the fencing the proper height? Are the trees and bushes, are they cut to the right size? Are there places where people can hide behind as the principal or the client comes home, you know, if they don't have the security and they pop out from these places? How well are their camera systems? How well are the locking systems on the houses? Are the windows on the lower levels, or are they normally closed and locked when no one's there? So these are the kind of things that we look out for, we recommend, and then you put that stuff into place, and then you say, you know what, in addition to that, you may need a guard force. Now, what that guard force is, it varies. Some people are just happy with the regular security guard, somebody as just observe and report. But there have been cases like in California with music executives who had the security guards shot out in front of their house. And even that happened to Drake at his house, where he had security there and the people still, there was normal security guards, but they were still able to come past and shoot at or shoot up, or however you want to say it, shoot up Drake's house. Hello, KG. Okay, is it KG? Okay, so you know that is my take on that. So here's how this can become expensive for somebody who wants to hire a bodyguard or hire security. So on average, depending on who you are, depending on where you are, for professional security at a house, 24 hours around the clock, you can be looking at anywhere from $85 to $150 an hour per agent. Now, we're talking about 24 hours. So let's say if a principal needs, a person needs a bodyguard, a person that's going to be on their body, that bodyguard also can't be the executive chauffeur or the driver as well. Because say in a place like here, like New York, we're just going to turn this around a little bit, right? You pull up to this courthouse, where are you going to park? Now you're here with your principal for a trial, and the principal has to go in. They have to go into this building, but you can't go in with them because you got to park the car. So that means that you either have to find a parking space, or you have to park somewhere from a distance and walk in with your principal. Now that's the thing that we call advance work. We'll talk about that later. I'll probably post a YouTube short somewhere here on my channel so you can understand advance work. Advance work just simply means to go before you go, so you can know before you know. And in that case, you know that you would come here and know there was nowhere to park. There was no special parking for your person who believes they're special. Just because they're special, law enforcement isn't going to make any provisions for them. Not unless you got influence and connection, you know, you got the gift of gab. You say, hey, this is what I'm doing. They say, okay, park right here. But in a case like this, of this magnitude, so many high profile people are coming here. They don't care who you are. Just drop your person off and keep going. And you don't want to be the person that has to drop their client off or their principal off and keep going. So just remember that. So we'd say if you got a close protection person, you also need a dedicated driver. And the driver and the car are two separate charges, all right? So in some cases, depending on how high profile your principal is, you may need a person that does the advanced work, that goes before you go, so you can know before you know, a close protection person who's right there with the principal at all times, and you may, or let's just say will need a driver. So there's 3 people and a car. But back at the house, there's somebody has to protect the house too. So now we're talking about anywhere from $90,000 to $125,000 a year per person. So your security budget could run you $500,000 just for those 3 or 4 people. And we're talking about security. I'm only talking about that from one shift. The security, the residential security. That, of course, that's going to be a lot lower depending on who the principal is, but that's just one shift. So we're saying $85 or whatever that is. That's 160 times 3 shifts. You know, so just do the math, and it becomes very expensive. So a lot of people opt not to go with the security at all. And I don't think that with all the representatives, congressmen, congresswomen, senators, governors that represent the United States, I don't think the government or the U.S. citizens are willing to foot the bill for those men and women to have that type of protection. So if they want that type of perfection, well, it is perfection depending on who you get, but if they want that type of protection, they need to go dig in their pocket and pay for that themselves. All right, so, but to bring this all back home, I hope to be back out here on Monday. I want to catch this case as it wraps up. I want to bring it to you live. And some of my favorite people out here, some of my favorite YouTubers, Tisa Tells with Nancy Grace and on CNN. She's one of the best that I believe. And she's out here. And then it's also, what is her name? She's on Law and Crime, but she's also good. So Monday, I'll be right here, God willing, and I'll get to meet some of my favorite people, some of my favorite YouTubers, and we get to gift the gab and get to talk a little bit and exchange information. But what we're going to be looking for on Friday, and I wish I was going to be here, but I'll be actually teaching the class on Friday. What we are going to be looking for is who are these last rappers? So what we're going to be looking for again, ladies and gentlemen, is this security team going to testify? And if they don't testify, I guarantee you, as soon as the conviction comes out, the sealed indictment is going to come out on from the grand jury on Christina Corum, Uncle Paulie, D-Rock, and some of the other people involved in this case. But it's an interesting time right now. It's a very interesting time for security professionals. So, you know, going into this, what I'm going to suggest to you guys, that if you're working in security, and I'm going to warn you, don't get attached to these people. Right? These people are just regular people. They're regular people with illuminated problems. Right? They say whatever problem you had when you were broke, you're gonna have 1,000 times that problem when you get money. All right? If you're arrogant, you're gonna be more arrogant. If you're rude, you're gonna be more rude. Hey, get stuff from the UK. Thank you for joining our live. To get stuff, I don't know how long you've been on. I think you just popped on. What you know, I'm out here at the Daniel Patrick Moynihan courthouse, and we're just going over some stuff about the P. Diddy trial, the security, his bodyguards that were a part of this case, them being questioned, you know, if they're going to be tried individually, if Christina Corum is going to testify. But to catch you up, the case has around 9-10 o'clock this morning. Judge Subramanian said that this case was going to rest today because we had a sick juror. I had really planned on being down here, not only being out here, but in here, inside the courthouse. You know, I can't bring this in here, but once I you know, hear what I need to hear, come back out here and give you guys my full report. But that's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about from a security perspective. And nobody is willing to talk about this. Everybody wants to protect their client. Again, protect them from liability, protect them from litigation, protect them from public embarrassment, but more importantly, protect them from danger. And you just got to figure out how far down, what rabbit hole are you willing to go, and what level are you willing to stoop to? Because yeah, maybe, you know, maybe you don't tell on him and another rapper or some other entertainer will hire you because they see that you're loyal. But I don't think that coming out, not unless just entertainment is your niche and that's all that you have, I don't think but coming out and giving your story to something that you see should or could ruin your career as an executive protection professional. I don't believe that. Now, if you want to stay in that same vein, if you work with rappers and everybody know you for what you know you for and you held your guns, it's just like here, if you grew up in the streets, snitches get stitches, as they say, but if you decide to stick to your guns, so be it. Then maybe you can work with the next rapper. But again, people don't change just because they have money. They're just regular people with illuminated problems. Bigger problems, more, and Diddy said it in his songs, more money, more problems. More money, more problems. Thanks, Get Stuff. Thank you for following me. And you guys who, if you guys in the security world, if you don't follow me already, I have my Instagram. Make sure you follow my Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I don't do as much on TikTok, but I'm trying to learn that stuff. And then I'm also YouTube. Please like, share, subscribe to this channel. I got a lot of stuff that you can learn from. I say, if you watch my channel, it's just like sitting in one of my executive protection classes. You don't get the certifications, but you get a whole lot of knowledge. I give you 10 pounds of knowledge so that you can take and you can go back, and when you're working, whether you've been through a training program or not, that you can start applying these things to the way that you move with people, protect your principle better, and also protect yourself. And last but not least, get into an executive protection course. Now, this is not no advertisement for my class. I do what I do. Is people going to show up anyway? This is for you, right? Because I got people who will tell you they, and the votes are coming in. We got 13 votes so far. Let's get the votes up if you can. You believe that he's gonna get convicted or he's gonna walk. All right. So I just say, so people who have come to my class, that they can tell you that they have achieved a significant amount of success. I've seen one place that they get 70% job placement after somebody attends their class, and I call BS on that, because 70% of the people who come through a class aren't even, qualified. You'll find out that they're not qualified. They're gonna have either not the skill level, they're not the comprehension level, not the character level, not the communication level. There's something that's gonna be wrong, or just sometimes people are just not the right fit for whatever reason it is. So there's ultimately times where there's just something wrong with people, and they're just not cut out for this job, So if 70% of the people that go to a class actually gets placed in the job, I feel sorry for the principal or the client that they're being put with, because in my knowledge and my experience, I don't see 70% of the people coming through our courses being able to go on to be successful in this career as executive protection agents, and maybe at some level, maybe working in low-level clubs, the rappers and stuff like that. Not nothing against rappers, please, because some people take this as offensive. Bungie Adams says, attending the MVP School of Executive Protection changed his life. Thank you, Bungie. And I don't know, can you bring somebody on? If I could bring you on, Bungie, I could see if I could bring you on. I don't know how this thing works. No, I don't think you could do that. I know it's something that said go live together, but I think that's already has to be set up. But right, if you come to the school, I don't make no promises. In my school, I'm gonna give you 20% of the people. So 20% of 20 people, that's about 4 people. These may be the people that I take on to the next level. All right, and that's no shock. I mean, that's no slight against nobody, but in my profession, what I do, I'm looking for the best of the best. And just like college, I think 87% of the people go to college for any specific degree, never get a job in what they go to college for. A lot of people who join a football team, they could have been in there from little ones, from the time they were Pop Warner, so they can basically walk. Only 1% of the people who go to college or play high school football or whatever, only 1% of those people actually get to play in the NFL. So just think about those numbers. So somebody who's promised you in an executive protection school that they're going to give 70% of the people the jobs, I call BS. I think that's a marketing ploy. Only about, the realistic number is about 2 to 20%. And it falls in the range more between 2 and 10% of people who actually make it in this field. And so you really have to, before you take a class, you really have to judge who you are, judge your character. Is this thing really for you? If so, then if it's so, apply yourself. Don't, find the best school to go to. The best school doesn't mean the one that's been around the longest. It doesn't mean the one that charges the most money, but you have to do your homework. All right, you have to do your homework, check out the reviews, check out the website, check out, well, it's easy to get caught up in the smoke and mirrors of executive protection training too, right? You see people shooting behind guns, shooting cars, and rolling on the ground and fighting and all of that stuff. Like, that's what we really do. I got a couple of people on here right now that can tell you that what we really do is go pick up somebody, make sure that we're on time, put them in the car, figure out what their itinerary is, where they're going, send people out before we get there to make sure that when our driving to the route is going to be smooth, where we pick up, where we're going to drop off is going to be smooth. If we have a point of contact or connection inside the location, where who that person is, that we made contact with that person when we get there. When we pull up, everybody's out their car and they're in their positions. They're looking for what they need to look for. And then we're walking this person or whoever this principal is into a building or into their meeting. Sometimes they want you to stay with them. Sometimes they want privacy, or the meeting is, you're not privy to that type of information that they're going to be talking to in the meeting. They'll tell you, okay, my meeting be done at 6 o'clock. Can you please be here to pick me up? And that is how you do. You go out, you go get yourself a sandwich, or you go sit outside in the door. You make sure that the car's nearby and that you're communicating with the driver 10 or 15 minutes before you're coming out. And that's it, right? We ain't beating up people. We're not pushing through the crowd, throwing flying elbows and knee chops to the neck and stuff. That's not how it works. So I can just tell you, what you see on the internet is glorified. I always tell you, people, if you're interested in executive protection training and they're doing all of the shooting and all that good stuff, that's cool. But that's something that you need to know how to do already on your own. If you're in an executive protection class and you're spending 8 hours shooting, that means you just lost 8 hours, not learning the fundamentals of executive protection and how to move and protect people. And I believe that time is best used doing that right there. Going through route planning, preparing security operation plans, doing security advances, things of that nature. I'm sorry, somebody walked up on me. You know, I got that instinct. Hey, brother, how you doing? All right. You're not on camera. I don't know why he did all of that. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, that's what that's about. So get into class, learn the game. Don't have no ego, don't have no bravado. And one of the most important things I didn't mention, right? So a lot of people, when they email me or reach out to me on the internet, they like, oh, bruh, first of all, I'm not your bruh. I got 3 brothers. We all grew up in the same house. I love them to death, and sometimes I don't like them at all. But those are the people who I have, who are my brothers. And there are some people that I've adopted as brothers, little brothers and little sisters, but this is a profession. So when you're talking, addressing somebody, man, you're trying to get a job. You ain't trying to get a friend, you're trying to get a job. Address that person as sir or ma'am, okay? Understand that. But getting into this profession, trying to befriend or make friends with somebody is actually gonna push you further behind. What I highly recommend is address them like you want a job. Address them like you want an opportunity. And I say this, so a lot of people say, hey, well, yeah, hey, bro, I'm this, I'm that, I'm 6'9", I'm 280, you know, I was this, I was that, I got a gun and I shoot, I got CC. I don't care anything about that. My motto is I would rather have a person with integrity and character and no skill than skill and no integrity and character. You know why? Because simply, I can teach character. I can teach skill. I can't teach character. I can teach skill, but I can't teach character and integrity. Mark Ryan say, hey, bro, you gotta listen, because him and I, Bungie, we talk about that all the time. And I get it, brothers and sisters that look like me, some of you don't look like me, we're still brothers and sisters, no matter what kind of skin you're in, we're still brothers and sisters. But let's treat this as a business, right? But we talk about this, people like myself, Bungie Adams, Mark Ryan, a lot of the guys that follow me on my Instagram, at security_czar for you guys who don't follow me. We always talk about this a lot. That's how people come to you. That's the job interview. That's it. Hey, bro, what's up? You got a spot on me? You got a spot for me on your team? You know, I do this. I'm 6'9", 280 pounds. Well, we know what 6'9", 300, 280 pounds get you. Look what happened to Drake's bodyguard up there at that festival when he got knocked out about a guy my size. I'm just a little tad under 6 feet, but I just call myself 6 feet. But he got knocked out, a guy my size that didn't even know what I know. He wasn't a martial arts specialist. He didn't know anything. He just was determined that he wasn't going to be punked by this 6'9", 300-pound bodyguard. And I got that on one of my YouTube shorts too, so make sure you check that video out. That was insane. But let's also just take about big don't make you good. Let's look at Jack Doherty, the YouTuber who was in Los Angeles with $350,000 worth of jewelry with the 6'9" bodyguard, Dave, the bodyguard, and got all of his jewelry taken, and Dave got his stuff taken too, right along with him. So that's because you see people compromising their professionalism to be in a relationship, whatever that relationship is, friend, brother, whatever that is. I don't know what be going on in these things. They compromise themselves just so that they can be liked and so that these entertainers and people can keep them around. And I can tell you this, if somebody is able to keep you around and able to get you to do small things, that continues to happen. I don't know how many of you guys have worked in the prison system or something like that. This is how inmates get corrections officers, right? They say, hey bro, can you get me a cigarette? A cigarette, you know I can't get you no cigarettes. I give you $100, just get me one cigarette. So the correctional officer say, $100? Shit, yeah, $100. That's all I gotta do is get you a cigarette? Yeah, just how you give him a cigarette. Boom, give him a cigarette, $100. Once you give him that cigarette, you are on the hook forever, man. It wasn't even about it. So, look like my screen locked up, but let's see if we're back on. Okay, so I don't know what you heard. My screen froze up for a minute. So once they give you the $100 and you take the cigarette, just understand that it wasn't about the $100 or the cigarette. What it was about and what it is about is now they own you. Remember, because they're gonna come back and the next thing they're gonna ask you, hey man, can I get 5 cigarettes? And you already bought at that point 5 cigarettes. Yeah, I'm gonna give you $500 for a $10 pack of cigarettes. Yeah, I'll get you a pack of cigarettes. How many? I'll get you, yeah. So that's how it starts. And it goes from 1 cigarette to 5 cigarettes to a pack of cigarettes to, oh, hey, can you bring this ounce of cocaine in for me? Can you bring this cell phone in for me? You know, and then again, this correction officer, it happens to women and men correction officers, they begin to develop a relationship with the person that they have no business having a relationship with. And next thing you know, you're turning your head and you're overlooking a whole lot of things that you would have never imagined that you would do. And that's where integrity comes into place. What's up, Mike? Thanks so much, man. Michael Lutcher says, okay, 59%, Michael Lutcher said, what's up, bro? He said, real talk. Thanks, Mike. So 57% of the poll says that Diddy will be convicted, right? I honestly believe that. I'm gonna let that poll run for a few more minutes, and I gotta get out of here because I gotta get up here and get ready for this class. So 50% of the people say that he's gonna be convicted, and I believe that. But just understand that just like in corrections, these celebrities, these VIPs, they can buy you too. And it just starts with one small thing, and next thing you know, you in hell answering questions, and the FBI is at your door saying, hey, I know you was Diddy Security, I know you was XYZ Security, and we got some questions for you. And how you answer those questions determines your future. All right, so I may lose some job opportunities from this, from people who may be watching, but I'm gonna just be honest, I don't really work with celebrities like that anyway. Not in the music entertainment business, because I'm old. Y'all see this gray hair, that's wisdom, but that's also age. I don't like to be up all night long. I like to be in the bed at 10 o'clock if possible, so I can get up at, between 4 and 5, so I can get back to work again doing the things that I like, and then spend my days productively. But when you're working in the entertainment business, especially, you think about this, you ain't on nothing. You're a security person. I would hope that you're not on nothing, but these guys are on cocaine, allegedly. They're on ketamine, allegedly. They're on, ecstasy, mollies, and these things. So For you guys to know, a lot of the ecstasy is methamphetamine or amphetamine, which is pretty much, like crystal meth. Some of them may even be on crystal meth. I'm not saying that anybody is, but I'm just saying allegedly, this is what they're doing. So it's like they got, like what you call that bunny that beat the drum thing. It's like they they got a battery in their pack and they got two and it's on supercharged and all you had was, Red Bull's coffee and Celsius Energy, which does, pretty good too. And by the way, when we're talking about energy drinks, I want to take this time to plug Goat Fuel Energy Drink. Goat Fuel Energy Drink is an energy drink created by Jerry Rice. You can find it in some of the local stores, but you can also go to Goat Fuel's website and also follow Goat Fuel at Goat Fuel on Instagram. Follow him on Instagram, follow his webpage. That thing, Goat Fuel, is blowing up. I'm gonna tell you, like I said, I do a lot of work here in New York City, and I go between New York and Washington, D.C. Weekly. Sometimes twice a week. So if it's even airplane or it's I'm driving, I have a car that we leave here and we fly in sometimes and get it and we fly right back. And so it's insane. But I wouldn't be able to do all that I do without some kind of boost. And yes, I do drink coffee, but what has been good for me is Goat Fuel. Goat Fuel has a kick in it. It's filled with vitamins and natural ingredients. It has several flavors, natural flavors. It's really tasteful. You'll get a jolt out of drinking it, and it's one of the things. Once you drink Goat Fuel one time, it's a staple that you'll keep in your energy drink collection if you are an energy drinking person. Mercy 305. Once you get off this live, just scroll through my channel and I'll tell you a little bit about who I am. But I'm a security professional with over 30 years of protecting people from celebrities, government officials, politicians, foreign dignitaries, diplomats, ultra high net worth clients. That's who I am. That's what I do. I'm also the owner of MVP Protective Services in Washington, D.C., and I do work right here in Washington, in New York, and Washington, D.C. So that's who I am in a nutshell. If you feel like dropping down who you are in the comments, do that as well. I'm glad to know who you are, where you're from, and what you do. For you guys who are in the security world, if you're not already following on Instagram, do that. And also tap into my Discord. I will, let's see, I'm gonna put on my channel, I'm gonna put my Discord, because I don't wanna turn off this live. I wanna put my Discord, hold on one second. Let me see if I can do it without cutting off the live. I'll put my Discord down here for you guys to follow. My Discord down here for you guys to follow. I think I can comment on this. Can I write on this thing? Maybe I can't write on here. All right, but follow me on Discord, right? So Discord, this information that I'm giving you, I'm going to be drilling down on a lot of information. I created the Discord to help people who are starting security firms, to help you navigate the incorporation process, the licensing process, the insurance process, branding, what you need to do for as the screen gets frozen occasionally. So for in the Discord, I'm helping people learn how to start their companies, how to brand their companies, build their websites, how to monetize their social media pages and actually build their brand on their social media page so that it gets out to the masses of people, not just the people that you know. Also, how to regulate your social media pages. I highly encourage you guys who are doing protection work to not just be on Instagram, because the people who spend money for this type of work aren't necessarily on Instagram. They're on LinkedIn, and those are people with the deep pockets who understand risk and don't mind spending the money that they need to spend for professional bodyguards and executive protection agents. So this is things that I help do, but we talk about the executive protection business, about certain gear that you need. People always ask me what's in this bag. That's a whole nother live session or video, what's in this bag, but I got everything that you need for survival, I can tell you that. We have tourniquets, chest seals, we have aspirin, Band-Aids, we have scissors, knives, we have a satellite phone, we have a stick in the bag just in case things go south. So and some of the bigger bags, we have defibrillators, ADs, and all of that good stuff. So these are things that professional people carry in their bag. I don't know what else everybody else carry in their bag, but those are some of the things that I carry in mine. I also have a Wi-Fi jetpack so that when myself, my principal, and my team on security details, we're not on no unsecured networks, okay? VPNs, we can make sure that we got all of that good stuff. So this is some of the stuff that we keep in this bag, along with when you're working long details, sometimes depending on who you are, where you are, you might not get to eat. So some snacks in there, some kind bars, granolas, depending on a hot day like this, it may be a bottle of water, it could be anything in there. So just when I come back to talk about the video about what's in my kit, and what's in my go bag, you know, I'll pull some of that stuff out and let you know what that is. So that is really it, ladies and gentlemen. Being professional, getting your profile right. Join me on Discord, see all of that stuff that's on there, announcement, things that we're doing, webinars, seminars, training, free stuff that we're giving away. And the most important thing that we give away on there is free game about the executive protection industry, about the security industry, and then you're going to meet a lot of people, right? So I just started this Discord. My brother has been saying, bro, you need to do it. This is my real brother, saying that you need to do a Discord. He's been saying that for about 2 years. I didn't know what Discord and all this stuff was, so I started it, and I actually see the value in it, because just say you guys follow me on Instagram. I'm only on Instagram when I'm on Instagram, but you can follow a plethora of stuff and people on Discord, and it's a community of people that's in here for one purpose, and that's to help each other be successful and help each other be safe. So do that, get to there and join when you can. I really appreciate everybody that participated in the polls. I'm gonna tell you what the final poll numbers were. 56% to 42% that Diddy will go to jail. Thank you all for joining us. Again, hopefully I can be back here Monday. I will not be here for the Brendan Paul testimony, and I'm not sure if the prosecution is going to rest on Friday just because they're behind now on Thursday. They're going to be behind a day and a half, so they might end up resting Monday or Tuesday. If that's the case, I'll be here Monday, and then for the closing of the prosecution's case, or the resting of the prosecution's case, and for the beginning of the defense case. It should be exciting. Let's say that, to say exciting. So Kanye West is now, I'll just tell you this, guys, Kanye West is now on Diddy's, he's on his bona fide guest list. So Kanye West should be showing up here. So he gets to sit in court behind, a few rows behind Diddy. So he's already in. What's up, bro? How you doing? Good. So, you know, that's that. So I'm gonna take y'all back through this walkway. So you remember the Alex Fine video? This is where he came from, out that door, because they're not letting him come around from the front side. All right, so, but this is where they came through. You seen them walking through here. I'm gonna go back out here and talk to some of my YouTubers out here. And this is the walk, okay? This is where they come from. So this is all this stuff going down. All of this stuff is going down. And see if I can find my YouTubers out here. I'm gonna have a conversation. Yeah, but this is, again, man, this is a pivotal time in the security industry, and a pivotal time in the music and entertainment industry. Say, hey, look, remember, y'all go back, look right there. Y'all see those bollards? They call those bollards, those security bollards. That's so nobody will run vehicles up on the sidewalk and injure people, or, you know, try to damage the building or property. So remember this right here? Remember the guy had the bag right here, he was walking right here, and he came right here to this curb. He came right here to this curb, and the car was right here, and he grabbed the door, and it was the wrong door. And then they said, oh, they had the old Justin Bieber moment, and then they turned, and they started pretty much running down there with a host of media people chasing them. So, you know, that's what that is, and I think I lost my man, but I'm gonna follow his, you know, I'll go back and follow his channel because he asked me to. Well, that's it, man. This is New York City for you. And again, for you all, you New Yorkers who know, y'all know what that is. And you gotta be from New York to know what that is. Hey, baby.
The person just saw me today, a family just saw me today from Iran. that Agnifilo, Diddy's attorney, is working for the government. He works for the government, and he set him up. He paid Agnifilo $1 million. I have all the documents right here.
Right where?
21 pages. I took pictures of it. He'll be back Friday morning at 9 a.m.
You gonna be here?
Yes.
What's your name?
Jacqueline Cantor Williams, the MTA lady.
Do you got a YouTube channel?
Yes.
Well, you gonna give it to us so we can follow you?
Yes.
And I'm gonna sit here, ladies. I'm gonna sit here with her, and I'm gonna review. I'm gonna review these doctors.
It is Breezy Brown Cantor.
Hold on. I'm gonna sit down here. What's your name?
This one.
Okay. Well, they ain't gonna be able to see your phone cracked up. Can y'all see that? Okay.
If you can't see it on there, you can see it on this one that ain't cracked.
And you got the document. She said she has the documents right here that Mark Agnifilo, and this, again, we got to say allegedly, maybe she don't, but I have to say allegedly, is working for the government.
No, these are court documents from his family from Iran. He paid Agnifilo $1 million to represent him in court.
Who, did he?
No, this family wants me to know that Agnifilo works for the government because he paid Agnifilo $1 million. Now his son is in jail, and he paid him the $1 million. He lied in court and indicted the whole family. Took away their foreign car business dealership. Took away his. They still taking away their houses upstate New York. He said, Candy, I just came here to see you. Please help me. He just went to the court to file the papers. Today, I have them.
Wow. All right. Okay, Candy, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna make sure that I got you locked in with you. But you gonna show me the papers?
Diddy's representative.
Who Agnifilo is Diddy's representative. See? All right. What's up, bro? So anyway, guys, this is where we are. This is what we're doing at Daniel P. Moynihan Courthouse. You can see that right there. All right, y'all, thank y'all for rocking out with me.
I'm not showing you because it's my money. He's paying me.
No, I want you to get paid. Are you gonna take me out to dinner when you finish?
He's paying me to help him.
You gonna take me out to dinner when you get paid? She said she got me. She got,
Free Diddy party.
we go. Say it again.
We're going to the free Diddy party on Saturday. You better come out.
I ain't gonna be there.
After this, we're doing a dinner.
So what do you feel if they indict him? What do you feel? Well, I mean, if they convict him, what you think?
Because the Holy Spirit came through a man yesterday that happened to be Italian. Allegedly the mob, allegedly mafia crime boys met me a couple of days ago and said that Diddy's coming out by the first of the year. He said, President Trump, that's in my text message. President Trump is going to pardon him.
All right, y'all heard it there, but it's got thank you, Candy. As a whole, you're gonna have to do something strange for that change. She said, give her cash out. She gotta do something strange for that change. That's what Diddy here for in the first place. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure for all of you all who tuned in today. I'm glad I had an opportunity to come out here, one of my favorite places to be at, my favorite cities, New York City, to give you guys a little bit of insight from a security's perspective on how all of this stuff works. And come Monday, hopefully I'm here again. I can finish my class. I'll finish my executive protection class on Sunday. Depending on how late we finish, will determine if I'm gonna head back to DC. If not, I'll be here on Monday. I'm gonna follow this case and any updates that I get. I want to make sure that I put you guys in the loop, keep you posted, keep you up to date. And for other stuff, make sure that you follow me. I'm going to be talking about that Minnesota, the assassination in Minnesota. I'm going to be talking about that later on this week too. I try to get to a video on that, but you guys know, man, if you work at a job, you got a full-time gig, or you're running a company or whatever it is, it's very hard to do content. So content creation is a business in and of itself, and it takes a lot of time and energy, but it's hard to separate that from what you're doing as for your profession, and trying to do the content, and then also spending time with yourself and your family, taking care of your health and those things of that nature. But content creation is also rewarding. Shout out to all you YouTubers. Tisa Tales, you weren't down here today. Be quiet. You weren't down here today. What's up, bro? You weren't down here today, but Tisa Tales, tap in with me. Hopefully I get to see you on not Friday, but I get to see you on Monday and meet you in person. Follow that Discord. Follow me on YouTube. And if you got any questions, hit me up. Thanks, y'all. Thank you for watching. Thank you for everybody who's dropping those decent super chats and all that stuff. Thank you. I appreciate you. I love you. And I will see you on the next live. Securities are. Peace. I'm out.